Barrister, it's May Day. What message do you have for the Nigerian workers?
I would rather you call me comrade on such a day as this. I'm not in court. Yeah, we have just come to the stadium to watch the performance of the workers. But I can tell you that you can see me putting on black and black. It's not because I'm Gregory. I came to send a message of condolence to the Nigerian worker. You will ask me, why is it commiserations rather than congratulations on a day like this? Because the Nigerian worker lives in the hotbed of unfair labor practice. Nigeria is a hotbed of unfair labor practice, both in the public and the private space. You may ask me, how? We start from a minimum wage. The greatest injustice that has been done to the Nigerian worker is that wages are not calculated on an hourly basis. If wages were calculated on an hourly basis, you will discover that if you are to go by a minimum wage, the average Nigerian worker earns about 137 naira 50 kobo. That's what the average Nigerian worker earns. So even if a worker is earning 100,000 naira per month, he probably earns an hourly wage that is not able to buy him a bottle of Coke. That is the greatest injustice our workers face in Nigeria. Even in the private space, we see where banks set targets for customers, for their workers, to get certain amount of deposit. And the court has said, the National Judicial Court has said, in Amanzia against Union Bank, that it's an unfair labor practice for you to sack, to dismiss a worker on the ground that he fails to meet targets. Why? Because it is the duty of the employer to provide work for the employee to do, not the duty of the employee to bring job for the employer. That's what the court has said. In this country, we have people who have retired and have failed to receive their retirement benefit many years after. And in Okonkwo vs. Arik Air Nigeria Limited, the court has said delaying gratuity, delaying pension, delaying retirement benefit for workers is an injustice and unfair labor practice that goes against the International Labour Organization Convention. But we see all these things happening in Nigeria. We see in Nigeria people are dismissed for no reason, even against the express determination of the court in this Slumbers case, that it is against global best practices for an employer to determine the job of an employee without stating the reason why it's been dismissed. But we see all these things happening in Nigeria. We see cases where there are disparity. Foreign companies operating in Nigeria at the same level with the same qualification. The foreigners are earning more than the citizens of our dear country. Even when the court has expressly stated that disparity in wages is an injustice that is inconsistent with global best practices. In all of this, the tragedy is that the workers do not have a voice. I hope for a time that Nigerian workers can truly have a voice, not the people representing them who will receive uppercut in the east in the left eye, and they'll be cooling off almost a month later in the Middle East under government sponsorship. Those are not the kind of labor leaders who demand justice. If I were the NLC, looking at all these injustices, particularly in the issue of the minimum wage, I will ensure that Nigerian workers' wages are calculated on an hourly basis. In fact, I'll sue the federal government. I'll sue most of these employers. That's what we'll do, to salvage the interests of the average Nigerian worker. So, in summary, Nigerian workers, I extend my deepest commiserations. I am dedicating the entire month of May to address issues of unfair labor practices. I want you to stay tuned to LP TV, Legis Prudential TV. Every Friday, we'll be going live to address issues of unfair labor practices. And one by one, we'll give you the areas where you need to rise up and fight for your rights. In fact, when we are through, by the time we have addressed all these issues, you will rise up one after the other, you sue them all.